Hello my dear friends and welcome back. In this video we are going to see how we can design to-do application in Excel using VBA as well as using modern functions of Excel. In this video we are going to learn not only the developing the application but also some functionalities that can help you to design your custom application using Excel VBA. So without any further delay, let's get started. And first of all, let's see the demo of the application that we are going to design. Here you can see in Excel file, I already have this demo ready. Okay, so we have two sheets over here. One is named as a data and another is a to-do. A data sheet is going to contain all the to-do items, that is a date, time, description and the status of that activity task. Okay, and the to-do is going to be a UI for our application. So here we have a calendar where we can put a year, a month, selection of a month, and based on the selection you can see the date gets modified. And when we click on that you can see two different colors on that. One is a gray color that identifies the previous month and the next month days, and another is a green color. This is nothing but we are specifying that this date has some entry in a to do action. For example, when I click over here you can see that it gets modified over the action for the day table. Okay, so this is nothing but an filter function over here, and we have captured this event and changing this date over here. Okay, so how this everything is working we will see practically step by step in our video. So without any further delay, let's jump to the code first. So here in our new Excel file, this is the plain Excel file, and just I have created a skeleton of the application so we don't waste us time on design and all that. We will just jump to the formulas and the code part. So for this is the first sheet where we have just added a header over here saying a date, time, description and status. And in the to do, we have just created a calendar kind of a view where this is going to be a input field for the year, and this is a simple drop down list using the data list. If I click on the data and click on the data validation, you can see that I have added in a list from January to December. Okay, this is a simple task that you can do on your own. Next, we need to create first of all the calendar, and for the calendar you can use a formula. I'm just going to paste the formula over here. You can see that I have used a sequence over here. A sequence is a function available in Office 365 and that helps you to create a sequence. Okay, so here the first parameter is a row, that how many rows you require. Normally in a calendar 6 weeks could be the possibility, so I am taking a 6 as an row value and 7 as a weekdays. Okay, next we require a start. Okay, so every date is going to be start from this particular cell. Okay, and we don't know this cell is containing this month date or the previous month's date. Okay, so for that, in this formula we are just validating that whatever the data is in B6 and B7, and for this B6 and B7 I have just put a formula over here is a match. Okay, and this is again nothing but we are just getting the number of month that which month the user has selected right now. Okay, and you can see that I'm unable to see anything over here because I have put on if I press Control 1 and you can go to the number format cell, you can see I have put 3 semicolons. These 3 semicolons identify that you need to hide that content from the cell, but you can still see in the formula bar. I have removed that and you can see it is showing me 9 over here. If I change it something else, it will show me that month number. Okay, let's come back to the September because there is the September running out. Okay, and for the formula B6 and B7. Okay, B6 stands for the year, B7 stands for the month. So in this formula you can see that I have freeze that cells because it is going to run all the way for the 42 cells. Okay, so this is the year, month number, and this is the date, start date. Okay, and here we are calculating the previous dates also. So in case if it falls with the previous dates, so we are using weekday as well as the same formula function and providing this. Once you enter it will automatically fill out all the cells, all the 6 rows and 7 columns with the date. And you can see that this is the previous month date. If I open the calendar over here in the screen, then you can see Sunday is the 31st. Okay, and we have started from Sunday to this way. So this is how you can create a simple calendar. And now let's add a conditional formatting to this calendar. So for that, let's select all the values, go to the conditional formatting and create a new rule. Here we have to go to the formula over here. And here we are just going to type a simple formula equal to month and for which date. Okay, so we need to compare this particular date, okay, and remove the dollar signs. Pressing F4 again and again, it will remove that dollar sign from that, because we need to validate all other fields, all other cells too. That's why. Okay, and we need to compare with not equal to this, sorry, this one, B7, and we are going to freeze that value B7. Whatever the month this is, if it is not related to the B7, then just change the color. And let's change the color to orange something. Okay, and okay, and as soon as you click, you can find that it automatically change the month, day, whichever is not following this particular number. Okay, for example, if I go to April, you can see it changes according to that. Okay, so here we have completed our two tasks. One is designing the calendar, and second, applying the conditional formatting for the previous day and the next day of the month. Okay, so now let's jump and add our this context menu, where we can right click and add the item for the to do task, as well as over here we can manage something different. Okay, so for this we are just moving to this VBA code, and here you can see that I have already designed a form over here where it contains some text fields, drop downs, and the status values. Okay, this is the just a design. We don't have any code over here. We are just going to write in a second. And already I have one module also. We are just going to create a context menu over here. So we require two context menu, and that context menu can be only visible when we click on the calendar part. For the context menu, I'm just going to paste one code and going to explain you. Here in my previous video also, I have shown you how you can create a context menu. And in this context menu, we require two variables. One is going to be a command bar and another is going to be a command bar control. The control is nothing but when you click on this and you see this portion is a this command bar controls, and this is the command bar. Okay, next we are writing this 3 line of code because we don't know that context menu already exists or not. Whenever we click, it should not recreate it again and again. So we are removing that context bar and then adding it again. Okay, so we have written this line. Here we are just declaring our context menu as a name, my shortcut menu 1. This is the name of that context menu, and this is the command bar what we have created over here. And going to add that context menu showing a temporary, that means when we right click it should be popped up. Okay, and this is the item. When we right click and see this paste and all this, these are the items. Okay, and to add that items we need to write this line of code, that control cb is nothing but control bar item control dot add this control as a button, and we are having a caption, that is this text paste list property. Now this is the caption value, add new entry, and when we click on there, what action should be followed? So this is the action name. We will design this action later, for example like this. Okay, and we will write some code over here what should happen. And this is how you can create your context menu. I'm just going to duplicate this right now and create another context menu. I'm just replacing one with a two, so we have the another context menu over here, just like that. And for this context menu, I'm just going to say, instead of add new entry, I'm going to say edit entry, and let's say do edit entry. Okay, these are the functions that we are going to write down soon. Okay, these are the two functions. One more entry I want to create it out. and this is going to say as the status need to be completed, so user don't have to go to the form and do other activities. So I am just going to say, so these are the three subroutines that we are going to create soon. Right now we are not writing anything over there, and this is how we can create a context menu. And one more thing, we need to write it out, because whenever we create that context menu, it needs to be removed also. Okay, and to delete that, we need to write this short of code where I am just calling a procedure delete my context menu, and I am just deleting this command bar items, that is shortcut menu 1 and 2. Okay, this is how it will delete temporary context if it is run through the macro. Okay, so this is one of the one of the tasks regarding the creating context menu is done. Next, we need to show up this context menu. Okay, right now when we click on the anywhere, you can't see that context menu, right? So to pop up that context menu, we need to go to the sheet to do, because all the activities we require to be captured when we click on a to do sheet. Okay, so here we need to write it out the code in the worksheet, not on the change but on the before right click. Okay, I'm just going to remove this. So whenever we right click, the pop-up should be activated. Here I am just going to paste one code and just going to go through it. See, uh, I already told you that we require a context menu when we want to, when we right click over this position or this status. Okay, so we need to validate this particular cell range. For example, this is the cell range from B9 to H14. Okay, so one of the context menu should be only present when we have our cell right click over this position, and another in this M column wherever the data is present, then only it should apply the right click option. Okay, so for that, in this code I am just creating a range variables. First of all, a calendar range and a to do range, just for reference that what we are using in this. Okay, and this is the last row of variable where we can capture the information that how many entries are there. If we click on the empty cell and right click over there, it should not pop up that particular context menu. So I have used this last row to identify that it contains the value in that particular range. Now this is the calendar range B9 to H14, and this is the to do range where we start with the M6. M6 is the position, this one. Okay, this is the M6 row and till the last row. So if we right click over here, you can see the this context menu right now, but if I click over here and right click, it won't show up. Okay, this was intentionally moved over here because we required I want to show you that. And over here you can see another context menu, it is showing one entry, that is add entry. Right now we don't have we did not write any of the code for this particular sections. Okay, so it is not going to show up anything. Next, we are looking towards the right click cell range what we have clicked. So for that I am using if condition, if not inserted target cell, whatever the cell is in the range of this is nothing, then the pop-up will be shown. That means this condition should be true. Okay, if it is outside this, it won't allow. If it is in there, it will allow this pop-up. And cancel equal to true, we are canceling this default pop-up as a cancel, so cancel equal to true. The same way we are getting another context menu based on that column M, and again in case if we are not in this particular both the range, then we are putting cancel as false over here because we want to allow the default context menu to be displayed. Okay, so this is how we can have this context menu in this. So task number 2 is also being done, that we have created our context menu for this application. Now let's code our application so it works like the demo. So now let's come to the part of form designing. Over here, form contains few fields. These are the fields that I have used for the label of the output. This is called label status. This is the label date. This is one move for the edit row, that which number of row is getting edited. And these are the text field for the description, time, for the time, hour and minutes. And this is the column for the status. So this is simple. These are the two buttons, CMD save and CMD cancel. For the cancel, we are just going to write unload me, okay, to close that particular form. When we click on a save, it should save all this data to that particular sheet. That is a data sheet. Okay, and to do this, I'm just going to paste one code. This code helps me to validate that it is a new entry or an edit entry. For this, I have used a boolean variable is edit and just passing that validation through the if. That if the label is a new entry, if we are creating a new form, then by default we will put it as a new entry, and the last row will be the next row of whatever the last entry is. For example, for this first entry, the next row is going to be the A2 cell. Okay, and if it is an entry, then we will provide the existing caption value that we are going to add over here, and that will allow the row position to be modified. And the rest of the information is from the form, that the this is going to be a different one. I'm just going to give me a second, I will explain this. And row 2, 3 and 4 is nothing but getting the data from the form, that is HB, hours and minute. This is the description and status. These three values is going to come from the form itself. Okay, but before that we have some drop downs over here. Okay, if I run the form, you can see the drop down don't have the value right now. So let's add this drop down information first of all, and we will write it in the initiation event. Okay, so it is simple to add items to the combo box. These are the three loops that we have used to add the item in the combo box. First loop is I equal to 0 to 23. This is going to add 0 to 23 hours in our combo box of hour. Next is 0 to 59. This is going to add minutes to this combo box. And the third, we have used an array variable, because there are all possibility one by one adding. It could be a long length of code, and we have used the array over here. So these are the array items, and looping that array and creating the status. So now we can have this drop down information all that together over here. Okay, so when we click on this save button, it will give me an error, because right now if we click on a debug, you can see that we have the values, but the last row is showing as a 0. And 0 is because we have no new entry or anything edit entry over here as a caption on the top. You can see, right? So for this, we are just going to say, when we right click on that, it should give a new and all that. Now let's go back to our module 1, and you know that we have created this three functions and we need to write a code over here. Okay, so let's go with the first add new, and let me paste this thing. Okay, so form contains label status, and we are changing that status to new entry, and default we will say a drop down as a not started and then stop. Let's see if it works like that. New entry is there, started. Yep, it got saved, and let's see over here. Here is the date, time and all this. Okay, so one thing is also done, that when we right click and click on add entry, it's automatically adds the date, time and other information to that. Okay, so this is how it is adding. Next, we just have to write a formula that will read that particular list. Okay, this list, and show up here that context value. Let me put this, this both the values are 29 the date. So when we clear, when we have the 29th over here, it should give us the data for that particular day. So let me put the formula over here. This is the formula that I am going to use for the filter. First of all, we are going to look that the J5 cell has some value or not. If not, then show as blank. But if it has a value, then we will apply a filter over here. The filter is going to happen on the data sheet, this one, from range B to D, and it will validate data output from A to A. equals J5. J5 is this date and A column contains the our date. Okay, so if this both gets validated, then it will show up the filter information. If it is not, it will give us no task for this date. I'm just going to enter and let's see. Here you can see we have a two entries over here. But if we change this 28 to 29, then it is going to show no task for this date. Okay, so this is also working very fine. Next task is when we click on a date over here, it should change this value and filter should also work. And for this, we are just going to write one more event over there in the sheet 2. We have one event that is before click and another event for the change. Okay, so we need to add an event over here that is called selection change. Okay, not normal change. We are going to use a selection change whenever the cell range is getting being modified. We need over there. So I am just going to paste a code over here that whenever the selection get changed, just validate that if it is in this particular range, that is a B9 to H14. This is our calendar range. Okay, and if it is there, then just update that event and change the value of J5 cell with the current targeted cell value. And you know that we have the date over in this calendar range. Right now it is 29. If we click somewhere else, nothing is happening to this cell. But when we click on this particular cell, you can see that it is getting updated. Okay, so in this event we get this benefit. So whenever we click on 29, you can see that it shows over 29, and with the reference it is showing us the calendar. Now next task is regarding this completion. So I'm just going to apply the complete function right now. For example, if I select this and click on complete, it should complete that task. Okay, so next let's go to that particular thing, and for the complete this, now I am just going to paste some code over here, and this code is going to read the position of that particular cell from the data sheet, and then we are just going to update the column number 4 with the mark as complete. Okay, so here I have created 4 variables that are going to represent the input information from that particular cell. This is the date. We have that particular selected in a J5 column, a J5 cell, and these are the cell positions using offset, because we need to get this information to validate all the cells. Okay, because we don't have any unique item over here, we don't have an ID or anything, we are just creating an our own unique value, use reading all the 4 columns. Okay, so here we are going to read the date also, time, description and status, merging all this information as a single key value and then validating the same value in this particular data values. So for that, I have just updated that 4 variable values, and find a row position function. I have just created an additional function over here. This is a public function, not a subroutine, and this is going to return us the position of the cell, where we are just searching all this value should be compared with the pass on data, that is date, time, description and the status. Okay, and whatever the value has found, it will return me that position of row, and we are just updating that particular position with the mark as complete. So you can see that it is not started over here, but when we right click on not started and mark as complete, it will automatically show me complete, because we didn't make any changes over here, because this is the formula, we made the changes over here. Okay, so this is how you can modify the cells and all that. Now let's get the next step, that is we need to create an edit entry functionality. Okay, and this is going to be very simple because we already did some part of it. That is, when we right click and mark a complete, that means we are editing that row. Okay, the row cell value. Now we just need to update this whole item, and plus we need to get that default value whatever we have added over here. Okay, so for that, let's do a quick job for this. For example, we are back to 29 and we want to edit this row. Okay, so first of all, let's go to our VBA and see module. Let's go to the module, and we have to write something over here. The same thing that for the new entry we are going to do for the edit. So for the edit, I am going to use this code. Okay, this part of code we already discussed for that new entry, but the new thing is that we are just going to split it out the sum of the text also, because we are using a time function, right? Sorry, time column. And you can see that we have the hours and minutes separately in the form, whereas we are capturing both as a concatenated value over here. So when we open a form, we need that value to be separated in a drop downs. So I'm going to split that value before saving it. Okay, so let's go over here. Here the values are coming from the active cell, whatever we want to edit out. So we are capturing that for information that will help us to find the row position in the data sheet. Okay, and that operation we are doing over here. Before that, let me show you that this variable, string variable, we are splitting the tm is nothing but the hour and minute column. So we are splitting it and going to push that value in this combo box as a value. Okay, the label is going to be a date caption, because we need to show which date is getting added, and the description whatever we found in the cell. Okay, same way with the status, and I am just going to update the status as edit entry, because we need to when we save that, we used to validate that this is a new entry or a edit one. So that's why we have used edit entry over here. And last, we are just updating the one of the label having the row which need to be edited. So in the find row, we are going to retrieve that information from this particular function, that which row we are editing. And then after, when we click on a save button, it will automatically read this particular caption that gives the row number and then update it. So let's go back over here and we click on the save. Here we see the last row. Okay, so which row need to be edited. So when we are using edit entry, we are reading this caption, and this is the same caption that we have updated here. Okay, so we get the row number over there. So that's it for the edit one. Let me run the 29 number. Okay, and instead of completing, I'm just going to click edit entry. You can see I can have all that information, 302, this text completed and all that. If I click over here and right click and edit entry, you can see the same. Okay, let's update it. Item task 1. I'm going to start at 10 10, and it is not started yet. Save. So it will automatically update that particular. Okay, and this is all about editing and marking as a complete. But one task is still pending. Which one? That we are not able to find right now in which data we have the entries. For example, 29, we remember that we have a task on 29, so I can click and see the data, but it is not visibly understandable. So for that, again, we are just going to apply conditional format. For this, I'm selecting all the cells, home, conditional format, new rule. Okay, again, the same way that we applied the rule for a previous month day and the next month day, same way we are just going to validate if the cell, whichever the date is, already present in that date sheet or not. If it is there, then we will mark it as a green or some other color, so we can identify that this date has some task. Okay, so let's write a formula, and this is going to be a very simple formula. Count if. Okay, count if data from a column, that is from the data sheet A column, matches the data in a B9. B9 is nothing but the starting position of this particular cell. So as we have selected all the cells, it will go through from this B9 to H14, all the cells. Okay, and if any of them are present in the condition that is greater than 0, then we want to format it out with some field color, for example green, and click OK. And okay, so now you can see that we can have that 29 marked as green. Let's add one more item, for example on 11th. and save. As soon as you create, you can see that 11 is marked as a green and entry is there. Okay, so whenever you change or switch to another month, it won't be displayed over here, but whenever you come back to the same month or entry is found, then it is marked as a green. And that's it for this video. Hope you like this video. Let me know in the comment what you think about this video, as well as if you have any idea or suggestion regarding VBA application, please do let me know in the comment. I would be happy to answer that. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. That helps me a lot. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.